It offers the region's only ER just for kids. Learn more at chihealth.com/St. Elizabeth Emergency.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes. Feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Welcome into the locker room, the most sacred of spaces in sports. Talking you through the behind-the-scenes conversations that happen behind closed doors. With former Nebraska football tight end Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor Brewington, the 6-year senior tight end, finding his way into the end zone.
And former South Dakota State running back and Nebraska football assistant, Mikey Daniel.
Hand off to Daniel inside the 2 to the 1, and he powers his way into the end zone for a South Dakota State touchdown.
This is The Locker Room, brought to you by Pep Foundation Repair. Here are your hosts, Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
Yes, we are back in the new year, the first show of 2025 here on The Locker Room, and we got plenty to talk about. Is the new college football playoff model a success? There's plenty to break down there. We'll also talk a little bit of Nebraska football, but let's send it over to Chancellor Brewington, the host of the show, ready to roll.
Man, first show of the new year, Bach. I mean, this is amazing, man. I've been at the ticket now for almost a year. That is incredible, and it's an awesome place to be. And we thank you, obviously, for listening to this show, but not only this show, the other ones. I mean, there's some phenomenal shows on this platform, and obviously, thank you to the Pearsons for enabling everyone to be able to speak their truth and speak their mind and give updates and call out news and do all this fun stuff, man. We've been on the series of opening up each show with some type of quote, and for this week, we're talking about know thyself. I said it's a inscription on the temple of Apollo in Delphi, Greece. And it can be interpreted many different ways, right? The way I interpret it is to know self is to understand your habitual patterns, your habitual behaviors. And it was so interesting. So I had an opportunity to talk to someone the other day, and I've been kind of, after the shows, like it's obviously fresh on my mind because this is kind of what we're opening up the shows with. So I was talking to someone, and he was examining it. He was kind of asking himself, like, why is he doing something? Right. Like, I just don't know why I'm doing this. Right. And I was like, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn more about yourself. Right. And, I think one thing I realized is examine yourself, examine your behavior, is the first step. Right. Because how do you know what to shift and what to change in your life? Come up on a new year. Everyone wants to do the New Year's resolution, and I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna do this, and all that stuff is great. But if you don't understand like where your weak points are, like where inside of your self-conception, like where inside of like your belief system that's the error that's causing all of this. I talk about the psycho-cybernetics thing, and this kind of pertains to the whole New Year's resolution thing. Is just like there's a thermostat. I'm sure somewhere in this building there's a thermostat in this building, and if I open up the front door, all the cold air is going to come in, and I'm sure that it's going to we'll probably have it set on to heat, right? So the thermostat will send a signal to the air conditioning unit, and it will send in heat, right, to combat the cold air coming in. And that's kind of what happens in our life. We have a cybernetic system, and that cybernetic system is our self-image. And the way we see ourselves, if we don't change our self-conception, I mean, nothing will change. Our actions won't change. Eventually, say, you set out to, a common goal is to lose weight, right, Bach? You set out to lose weight. You set out, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this, right. Well, you might start off going to the gym, and then all of a sudden, 90% of all New Year's resolutions end by February. All of a sudden, you go right back down, and that's the cybernetic system, right? You get off course, and your self-image will send in a signal, obviously, to your body, send out certain vibrations, all those different things, right? And you'll go right back to your original self-image. Why? Because you didn't change yourself. You didn't change your concept of yourself, right? So you can't get something outwardly to change if you don't change your inward conception, right? Because if you want reality to change, you have to change yourself. So that's kind of on the field of know thyself. And it's, we talked about it and digging up. This is all subconscious conditioning. You have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So you're digging up your subconscious. That's not comfortable stuff, right? So I read a lot of books, a bunch of self-help books and a bunch of stuff out there, and they, I think they miss it sometimes. They miss the mark on telling people what it really is. Like, yeah, you can, of course, change your self-image. Whoop, whoop, everyone gets fun, and then you have to do it now, right? You actually have to go and do it. Like, it's like practicing all day. Now you got to go play the game, and it's hard. It's not easy, right? And but I guess you got to change your definition of easy. I mean, if you can change your definition of easy, of it just being something you can do, then everything is doable and everything's easy. So we'll be back tomorrow with more of the topic of know thyself. We might even start next segment with it, depending on where this goes. But the college football model, Bach, do we think it's a success? Let's be real. Do we think it's a success?
I think some of the games have been entertaining. I think that as a trial run for a playoff, this is what a lot of people waited for and are having some fun with it. But I don't think that the model as is probably the one that they'll have to finish with. Now, obviously, you're going to add 2 teams. You're going to be a 14-team playoff next year. So, but as we see it right now, the teams that got the bye are 0-3. See what happens with Texas and Georgia tonight. Oregon would be much better off having lost the Big Ten championship game. And now you've got the Big Ten champion having lost in the playoffs to a team that they beat in the regular season that was not the Big Ten champion. I mean, so it's what's going to happen if you only have a few conferences and you expand all the playoffs and put all these teams that don't win conferences in. You're not always going to get the result of this idea that we think of. If you play one time, okay, that's the better team. That's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of different things that can go into it. If you play each other 10 times, you might get 10 different results. Obviously, you can only have a win or loss, but it feels really messy to me. It feels pretty messy.
Yeah, it does feel messy, and it's tough with the Boise State game. I think it caught a bunch of flack. Of course, you wanted maybe, you throw Miami in there instead of them, you probably get a better game. Or you throw Miami in instead of SMU, you probably get a better game with that Penn State matchup. And then it goes to, did Ashton Genty perform up to standard and all that stuff? I think, if you kind of watch some of the game and watch some of his runs, I mean, he's getting touched before the line of scrimmage, and it's, you definitely saw the difference in total roster compared, Penn State compared to Boise State. But I'll say a team that did not disappoint was ASU. They did not disappoint. And that, I mean, Sam, we talked about it off air, but Sam Levitt, I mean, he's he's doing fantastic. I mean, not only in the air but on the ground as well. Then, we're gonna have to talk about his Cam Scatterboo. I mean, he's a phenomenal football player. I didn't watch a bunch of him this year, just because ASU, not really Big Ten, and not really on the Nebraska scope. But I got to around right before college football playoffs, I got to watch some highlights and really see his game. I got told he was more of like a dual threat, meaning he's obviously on the ground, but he can catch and do the things there. And if you go back and watch him last year, ASU had some quarterback stuff. They had a young guy, that's why Sam Levitt came in, because that guy transferred out. And a bunch of stuff was happening at the quarterback position. He finished the year playing quarterback most of the time. I mean, a Wildcat set, of course, but I mean, he would drop back and throw the ball sometimes, play action stuff, roll out outside the pocket. I mean, read option, speed option, the whole nine, right? So he was everything for that team last year. So it's only right that he's getting rewarded for MVP of the Peach Bowl, first time in 26 years. I mean, it's only right. And to see what he's able to do in the body type too, because you look at running backs that have the dual threat component, meaning on the ground, can catch, do all that stuff. When you kind of look at him, you're like, nah, probably not, right? If you just go straight off the eye test, you would think he's a big bruiser, which he is. He can run through guys, break tackles, but he's also a guy, man, you can put him on an option route. You can split him out wide and do some things with him. He has really good hands, soft hands. Like usually when you have running backs, they always do this thing where they catch with their body, right? They always let the ball get into their pads, and things bounce, ball bounce off their chest, and you get the whole palms up thing. But all of a sudden, like, there's backs nowadays, like you got like your Alvin Kamara's, your Christian McCaffrey's. I'm trying to think of some other backs. Joe Mixon, I mean, he can catch a little bit. But you got some backs that can do both, right? And they don't usually come in like Cam Scatterboo's body type. So I think he's a really unique back. And I think, obviously he's going to declare, and he's probably going to be a top, trying to think, obviously Genty's probably going to be first back off the board. I'd say he's going to be a top 3, top 4 back in the draft coming up. And, he's going to be a hot pick. And I don't know necessarily what the 40 and all that. I don't know if he's a measurable guy, if he's going to test out the gym. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I do know that the film speaks, right? So, I've heard this saying, and I totally agree with it, that you need, you want your film to speak first. Then you kind of want not so much analytics, but the times, the 40 times, the vertical, the broad jump, all that good stuff to confirm what's on the film, right? And so sometimes people go to the 40 time and go to that stuff because this time is coming up in late February. We're gonna be talking about the combine stuff. A guy like Scatterboo, everything's already confirmed on the film, and he's phenomenal. I'll say it. I'll keep saying it. I wish he had an opportunity, to keep going, and for ASU to keep going on that run. But him and Sam Levitt, and not only them, but their head coach, why am I forgetting his name?
Dillingham.
Yeah, Dillingham. What he's doing with the program is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is, and I think too that's what kind of takes away to a degree, or maybe it makes it more exciting. The college football Final Four that we're about to get here is that they. And you'd like to see it at some point. It'd be fun to see a Cinderella story. But what makes Cinderella so special is that it's overcoming the odds.
Yeah.
So, the little guy didn't quite, power their way into this thing. And Arizona State, even though they're a Big 12 team, coming off that 3-9 season, a young coach, Sam Levitt, this is his first time really playing too much ball. Obviously, the Cam Scatterboo, starting at Sacramento State, they just kind of felt like the underdog. And it played throughout that. I mean, Texas looked like the better team. And then they just had some mistakes get in their way. And all of a sudden, Arizona State was fighting and just kind of getting every ball to bounce their way and to get that victory. Now, there was a call that could have been made for helmet-to-helmet contact I thought should have been made that maybe would have allowed Arizona State to win that game. But they also had an opportunity later in overtime when it was 3rd and 15, 4th and 15, whatever it was, and Texas scores in that play. Then goes out the next overtime, scores on the next play. So very much an opportunity there for Arizona State. It's going to be fun to see what they can do there. Tempe, kind of in the Phoenix area. Are they going to be able to keep a young Kenny Dillingham around for the long haul? So plenty of questions there. A lot going into the Big 12, and just kind of a wild week in there. But as far as Scadaboo goes, just watching him, and you can do the same with Genty. And I said this off air to you, so I'll just bring it on here though too. Is they it's a lot of broken tackles. You can see with these good teams, it's tough to bring some of the running backs down. And I think Emmett Johnson definitely has kind of put himself in the category of being Nebraska's lead back and a back you can get excited for. But I just feel like Nebraska's running backs didn't have a whole lot of broken tackles that extended plays, as maybe we saw with some of the better teams this weekend.
Yeah. And obviously, I think talent is talent. But I will say one thing: opportunity is opportunity when it's given. When a guy's given 20 carries in a game consistently for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there's a rhythm. Is the rhythm in football is, I would say, it's the number one key, and as a running back, and I would say as a receiver as well, is rhythm. Like it's the reason why when new cornerbacks come into the game, like you go right at them because they're out of rhythm, right? And so I would say, especially with a guy like Emmett, if he was to started the year off, we probably would have saw over 1,000-yard season. I think that's that. Emmett Johnson is that type of back, 1,000-yard back. But when you're out of rhythm, you get a carry here, and then you're not doing things really that fit you too. Maybe some of the run schemes don't really fit him. But yeah, and I'll say this one thing about ASU: they're gonna get a lot of guys. ASU is it's similar in ways to Nebraska. It had I'm nowhere near Nebraska, right? But it had during the 90s and late 80s, it had had a little boom, right? The Pat Tillman era, had some pieces. And
their version of the glory days.
Yeah. They had their own versions, right? But I'm obviously I kind of have a different perspective because I grew up around there, right? But that Tempe area, really that, I would say that Phoenix area, when ASU is on, like when Jalen Strong was there back in the day, receiver, like they were like, it's different when ASU is good, like the city's different. Like Tempe obviously is if you ever go to Tempe, just be careful, right? And I'm not saying like safety wise, just, listen, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a party city. It's a party town. You got Old Town Scottsdale, a couple, like 20 miles away. Like it's not like Lincoln, Nebraska, right? But what I'm trying to say is what makes Lincoln, Nebraska attractive is its resources and whatever. What makes ASU attractive for recruits, just to be real, is it's one of the best. It's the best. Up that in Florida State, I've heard, is probably the best party school in the nation, right? And so
I've heard that for 20 years.
Yeah. And so, if that place starts winning, guys will want to go there. The weather, of course. Summertime is whatever, but right now, Arizona is one of the best places in the country to be at. And so if Dillingham can keep some things going, and also Dillingham's a guy where you want to play for him. Like, you want to play for a guy like that. It's not like we talked a week and a half ago before Christmas about Bill Belichick, right? And he obviously that's attractive to certain players, right? But, I feel like Dillingham kind of has, and it makes sense, it's kind of that Dan Lanning energy of like, this is my team, like, a little bit more like not as serious, but he's serious about the game, but has fun. You can see he encourages his players. You can see it's more intimate. He has like real relationships with the players. You see like, Scadaboo go make a play, or, Sam Levitt go make a play, and like he's running on the field, like happy, excited with them. That's attractive thing for especially young guys in this era of social media, right? You see, I don't know if you've ever seen him on the post game. I remember before the BYU, he's telling all the fans, don't sell your tickets to BYU, because there's obviously there are a bunch of BYU fans in Arizona, but nah, like he's a guy where you want to play for him. And then the conversation, obviously Texas wins and Quinn Ewers, right? In that whole conversation, there's been, allegations. I'll say allegations, I'll say it again, allegations that, he might be offered some money to play somewhere else next year, and that he's probably not going to go to the draft. Me and Rico were actually back here yesterday or 2 days ago going over his numbers, and they're pretty similar from last year to this year. Yeah. feel like Quinn Ewers is a guy where he's not going to, I would say, outperform numbers wise, right? I think quarterback, and I love it. Coach Barry Thompson, one-on-one with DP. I filled in one day, and he said a great quote. He said the quarterback's number one job is to win. It's 3 letters: win. You win, hey, come on. Like, it's kind of like that JJ McCarthy thing a couple years ago, or was it last year, where it's this whole thing where, is JJ McCarthy that good? This, and this, but he wins, right? And obviously we didn't get to see that with the Chargers. With the Vikings this year. But I would say with a guy like Quinn Ewers, I mean, he's winning, right? I mean, you had a conversation maybe about the Georgia game, that this and that, but at this point, he's going to be able to. I would say there's a story behind this one with Ohio State. Right. He comes from there. Right. I don't know how he left. Right. How he left the relationships. Right. Was it a good thing? That he, like, was it on a good, wave and, feel good about the other and vice versa? Or was it a thing where, like, man, I felt like I should have played here. Right. And I felt like, maybe I was, wasn't given a fair opportunity. And some guys have that little extra oomph. So I'll be excited to see and hear the talks about the narrative of this game, the Texas-Ohio State game.
Yeah, absolutely. I do remember him. I think he got a pretty good NIL deal at the time. Now, NIL deals have kind of skyrocketed even in the last couple of years, to go to Ohio State. And that is an intriguing game. And it's just an intriguing situation, like you said, with Arch Manning on the bench over there. Because then you've also got kind of an idea of what if he does lead him to a title. Then is he so committed to college football, or is that to be the chance to go to the NFL, like you said, as a winner? Can't have any higher stock than leading your team to the college football playoff championship, with Arch Manning kind of right behind him. Or, I mean, because it kind of goes back to the situation that I remember with Georgia, is when they had Justin Fields as the backup, and they had another guy starting that led them to the championship game. And Justin Fields was like definitely a higher potential. It was Jacob Fromm was the other quarterback. But they just kind of went to that offseason and said, well, you know what? I mean, how can we bench the guy that led us to the title game? And so they didn't. Justin Fields ended up going to Ohio State. Georgia ended up winning with Stetson Bennett a couple years later. So I guess it turned out fine there. But it's an intriguing situation in that Texas back room in the quarterback room.
Yeah, it is. And you talked about NIL, and it's so interesting, right? Because obviously Quinn Ewers, he goes to Ohio State early, right? And I believe he leaves like maybe at the first semester, or I think first 2 semesters, first season, doesn't even make it like a full real 12 months there. But I could only imagine the NIL, like, not inflation, but how much it's gone up. You know what I'm saying? Just the increase. I mean, the percentage from what he got, I'm imagining back then it was probably like 750 to 1.2 to go there, or like not so much to go there, but on paper, right? On paper, that's probably what it's making. I mean, now, a prime time football quarterback, college football quarterback, I'm talking like out of the top 10, 15 schools, top 5 schools, Texas is, you're making $3 million plus easy. That's on the low end, right?
Well, remember how this thing is kind of exploded is that this, even less than a calendar year ago, when Matt Rule was talking to the media, or maybe it was a little bit over a calendar year ago.
This. Go ahead.
Because I think we've had Dylan Raiola now for more than a calendar year, but it was kind of maybe in my mind just a genius move to say it's going to take $1 million to get a transfer portal out of the a good transfer portal out of a quarterback out of the portal. And other coaches were shocked. They were upset with Matt Rule. He said they kind of talked about him about kind of airing that laundry out and letting people know what it is and might drive up the market. Again, so that's about a year ago.
That's like when like Amazon, that's like Jeff Bezos going on and saying like something about Amazon stock and it just skyrocket, right?
Yeah. But so it's just a year ago that you're thinking $1 million for a quarterback. That's crazy,
right? And
now we're talking about $6 million maybe being floated out there for Quinn Ewers. Certain guys entering the transfer portals that aren't quarterbacks that say it's $1 million to get me.
Right.
So it's just crazy, just in the last year, how much it's gone up.
Yeah, it is crazy. And even like an above average guy on the team, like, he's, let's say like a starter or a guy who rotates. I mean, at a good school, you're easily making over 150. I mean, almost, I would say at a decent school, 200, 250.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different ball game, man. It's a different ball game.
That's a lot. That's each one of those players. There's a lot of players.
Yeah.
A lot of money in there. All right, let's take a quick break. This is The Locker Room on 93.7. Think we'll be back after this.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes. Feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
An emergency can happen any moment. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. At CHI Health, we stand ready to care for any emergency. Our specialists provide expert care when you need it most and believe healing is more powerful when delivered with human kindness. When seconds matter, know CHI Health St. Elizabeth is accredited in stroke care and offers the region's only ER just for kids. Learn more at chihealth.com/St. Elizabeth Emergency.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska-supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies with a high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucket for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here in the locker room here on 93.7 The Ticket with your host, Chancellor Brewington. I am Jake Bakoven. And I wanted to ask you, Chancellor, about a few of your former teammates in this segment. One, let's start with Cam Jurgens, who was named to the Pro Bowl the other day. So congratulations to Cam, of course, with the Philadelphia Eagles. Him and Cam Taylor-Britt, both second-round picks out of that year. How quickly on campus did you realize that those guys were different body types or different type of athletes, or was that the case?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, shout out Cam Jurgens, and shout out Cam too, both Cams. But when I'm like, I read a bunch of books, right? I read a bunch of books on like, how the mind works and whatever. When you talk about two different, I would say, mindsets, quote unquote, or like mentalities towards the game of football, there are like on two opposite spectrums, but they're both successful, right? And I think the commonality between both of them is that they believe in themselves like nobody's business, right? You think about a guy like Cam Taylor-Britt, played quarterback in high school. Athletic is all get out, could throw a ball. I've seen him throw a ball like 80 yards, but also could probably play receiver. Could probably honestly play quarterback, right? But just athleticism through the roof. I told a story on here that I seen him take on a fullback from Minnesota and lay him out, right? And like one of the more physical corners I've ever seen. And I'm sure he's probably one of the more physical guys in the league right now. And for like his body type, I mean, he's stout, like he's strong, and he's a phenomenal player. I mean, when he ran that 4.3 at the combine, it was like, oh yeah, he's going second round, right? Because the film already spoke for itself. And then when Cam Jurgens, when I first got here, I didn't really know anyone. Like I didn't know who was good, who was bad. Just be honest, I didn't know, right? So, I think you can tell. There's, the young people that call aura, but like that's a real thing. Like you can just tell by the way someone carries themselves, especially in a locker room. Like you do the whole peacock thing, you puff out your chest. Everyone's sizing each other up. Before fall camp and summer workouts. The new guy coming in, all that good stuff. But there's certain guys where like, oh yeah, he got it. I don't know. I didn't know what position he played because it was like, what does he play? Like, does he play D-line? Does he play? Because he's like his body type. I mean, he came in as a tight end, I believe a linebacker, went to tight end. He's probably sitting around like 245 to like 250 when he came in, and now I think he's around 300. But for him to keep his athleticism, I mean, in high school, he's doing windmill dunks, 360 dunks. Like, he's a athletic freak. And, for him to grasp the center position, right, and obviously had some snapping issues early in his career, but like once he got it, like it was like nobody's messing with Cam. I mean, no matter who he played, you go to the Oklahoma game in 2021. I mean, he's blocking guys for 30 yards downfield, throwing them out of bounds. You go to Ohio State game back when, I mean, CJ Stroud was there 21. I mean, he's throwing, first through third round draft picks, like out the club. We call it out the club, throw them out the club, right? Like, center, obviously, like, you have guys either head up on you, but usually they're in either gaps, and you have to knock them, over to the guard and all that good stuff. Well, when Cam would knock people, or, when you have a center who can pull like Cam, I mean, it's different. And for him to, first of all, go to the Eagles, you got obviously Jason Kelsey at center, and it's what Cam played in college. And for him to get the guard position and grasp that, I mean, if you're a Cam fan, you have to understand, I mean, I believe his first year of really playing was 2020. So he's only played offensive line for, 4.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, or 3.5 years, whatever you want to call it. Like, and so for him to already go from center, pick up center, and then go to guard, and now he's back to center, first year in center, Pro Bowler. You add the full context behind his story. I don't know the full story just from being around him and, being in the program. Like, shout out to him. I got to see him in the offseason this year, and he looks phenomenal, and it makes sense, right? Because, not only do you work hard, but you believe in yourself. The combination of those two, I mean, is undeniable. Success is inevitable at that point. So shout out to him, shout out to Cam, shout out to everyone out there who's doing who's in the league right now, who's still obviously, playoffs are about to start, and there's going to be some guys there. So hope the Eagles can go on a run and do some good things.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly validates that move that Scott Frost did. He moved him to center, and
it's not all bad. I mean, he had some good spots in the Frost era, man.
Yeah. Well, and he had those snap issues, like you said, early on. And so people were, I mean, it was a heavy discussion. Like, after 2 or 3, it's like, okay, but 4 and 5, you're like, I just don't know if he might be a good center as far as everything but snapping.
Right.
But once he got that, he was pretty darn good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I know, not that this adds extra validation. I guess it does. He's already validated after that wonderful career and then the second round draft pick. But now to be a Pro Bowl center, Frost once said, and this is where I thought he went a little too far, is that he would be, or that he could be the next Dave Remington, which is what the trophy is named after, the best center to play at Nebraska.
Well, I mean, if he would have came back, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Like, the way he practices, like I didn't really need to know anything about depth chart, anything. If I would have not had social media, and just was a fly on the wall at practice, I would have known, okay, Cam Jordan's the best offensive player we have. He might be the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Right. Just cool. Just the way he practices. Like, you talk about a dude that, like, it's always go. Like, it's always go. It don't matter what's going on. It's always like, I'm going full speed. And I would have loved for him. I mean, it would have been cool to see him like match up with Raiola. Obviously Dominic Raiola, great career and stuff like that. For them to match up, I always just think, like, what if this guy would have played with this guy and this guy would have played with this guy? Like, they would have mixed well. I think those two guys would have mixed well. Because, I mean, I would say dogmatic, real passionate about the game of football. So shout out Cam, shout out to all those guys, man.
Absolutely. Got one more segment of the Locker Room coming next here on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be back with more football talk.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef.
The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies, the high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at CoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln. Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
An emergency can happen any moment. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. At CHI Health, we stand ready to care for any emergency. Our specialists provide expert care when you need it most and believe healing is more powerful when delivered with human kindness. When seconds matter, know CHI Health St. Elizabeth is accredited in stroke care and offers the region's only ER just for kids. Learn more at chihealth.com/St. Elizabeth Emergency.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by F Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on The Locker Room on 93.7 The Ticket. Still have some time to talk some football. Let's get to some Husker football here with you, Chancellor. I did see over the weekend Javen Wright maybe could potentially return or petition to return for another year at Nebraska. His coach, Rob Dvorak, of course, the linebacker coach, said as much going into kind of the bowl season. So, I mean, that would be huge and be obviously be a long time for him to be in college. But at the same time, he was really just felt like he was ready to take off this year before medically things got in the way again.
Yeah, and his story is interesting. I would say his is one of the more, you have the guy at Miami who played 9 years, right? And you have, I believe Casey Thompson, this was his 7th year at Oklahoma, right? So, yeah. So like you have these scenarios where guys play 7 years, but I feel like his is a lot different. He's had, to start off his first year at Nebraska, he's had a labrum surgery in the shoulder. He comes back during COVID. He tears his MCL, right? And then he comes back from that, and then he has the, health condition with the blood clot. And then he comes back from that. And then in the off season of 22, he has a shoulder labrum surgery, the same one, right? And then, after that, this past year, he had the health condition again. So, most guys would have been done, right?
Yeah.
Most guys would have been done after the MCL, right? But not so much actually done, but mentally checked out. Like, this is my dream is probably over. So I know what's going to happen. It's going to get announced, and it's, the whole Twitter bugs are going to get a hold of it, right? And people will say what they want and all that good stuff. But I'll say this, for an individual to push through adversity, not only push through it, because I feel like a lot of people can push through adversity, but to come out stronger and to come out swinging and to come out, ready to take over and, in the game still excelling for him. So there's going to be opportunity for him. And when he comes back, if he wants, if it gets cleared through Nebraska and he decides to transfer, or if he comes back to Nebraska, I don't know what the situation is going to be. But I will say this, a guy like that, that's a guy you want on your team. Why? First of all, character-wise, that's a no-brainer. If you get to know the guy, like it would be a night and day. He's a coach's dream, does what you tell him, will go and over-exceed expectations, like he did the year before when he got a full-time playing. 55 tackles, 2 picks, 1 forced fumble. Yes, I've memorized his stats. But yeah, you match him up with Vincent Shavers. And then you have the Deshaun
McCullough from Oklahoma.
Yeah, from Oklahoma. And now the conversation is, okay, which guys are going to play where? It's not really. I wouldn't say you have to have. I would say you have to have all three of those guys on the field at the same time. So if you switch up your defense a little bit to get those guys on the field, you do so, right? Because first of all, Vincent Shavers, he's a smaller guy. He'll put on some weight, of course. I would say he's probably around like the 210 or 208. Like not the biggest guy, but he'll put on some weight and he'll learn to play with his body. And just not only, I talk about it on Tuesday. Ja'Cory Barney's gonna have to go through that transition with his body. Dylan Raiola will have to. Carter Nelson will have to. But another key guy, I mean, is Vincent Shavers, going from that lean body, right? Or smaller guy, right, to putting some muscle on him and learning how to play with that. That being said, those two guys, I feel like him and Javen Wright, Vincent Shavers, they play well with each other. I mean, Vince is a guy where he's good at like adding on, like in the blitz, like he's good at hitting the A gap coming off the edge. He's good at bending, like he's good at blitzing. But also, I mean, I wouldn't say his strong suit is coverage. I would say that's more Javen's strong suit, having the corner to safety background, coming into college as a corner, transition to safety, playing nickel. So he understands the back end scheme, the umbrella of the defense and all that good stuff. So that's a guy you want on the field. And out of the two, I mean, you can match up Javen on tight ends, on slots, and stuff like that. And also with the guy like Deshaun coming from Oklahoma, I mean, he's a 6'5", 230 guy. You look at Javen Wright on, see him walk down the street, like he played basketball, right? He's like 6'5", almost 6'6", lengthy guy. I would say he's probably around like 225. Probably in the offseason, he'll get around 232, 233, maybe 235. So you have the similar body types, but I don't know play style if they play the same. And this one thing I mentioned, which one can backpedal? Like for real, that's the conversation of who can open up their hips, who's more comfortable in man, because that will kind of depend. Okay, I want Javen a little bit more, in the nickel and rover position a little bit more. Or honestly, I think it will come down to it. You can have both of them at each. And guess what? That's going to cause a lot of confusion for opposing offense. I mean, for a quarterback, obviously you have to ID, you have to slide the line to a certain place, ID the mic and all that good stuff. Well, if all of a sudden, usually you have Javen Wright, dropping to middle third or whatever, or, usually he's the, hook player on cover 3, or he's buzzing down, whatever it is, right? Or he's curl flat here, and they switch roles. Now you're like, okay, what is going on, right? So the ID for the offense, like pre-snap and post-snap, mixing around those two guys, similar body types. And I would say they probably have similar play styles. I would say Deshaun, I would say he's probably in the box. I feel like he looks more comfortable in the box. But also, you turn on the tape, I've seen him backpedal, and I've seen him come off the edge and beat tackles, right? So, and some of it, to be honest, I would say is opportunity, right? So if you have, Javen in a linebacker role, you're not going to see him come off the edge a whole bunch. You're not going to see him, drop in middle third, right? And all these different things. So maybe having him come to the roster and seeing what he did somewhere else can kind of open up, like, okay, like we can maybe use this guy like this, and this. I think of a guy, when I think of a guy who in college football a few years ago, who was able to play middle third, spy on the quarterback, sometimes line up at that jack position, and come off the edge and beat a tackle, who can play man on a tight end and a back, sometimes a slot, rarely a slot. I would say rarely a slot, but mainly a tight end. Is a guy like Isaiah Simmons when he was with Clemson.
Yeah,
I mean, you're thinking about a 6'5". Isaiah Simmons was probably around like 240, or probably around there, right? I would say he's a lot thicker, of a just body style, but he did it all. And I think that was what I was thinking they were going to do with Javen Wright. A little bit more versatility, but you kind of had Giff at the rover. I don't know how much you could have like intertwined those, but now if you have a guy like Deshaun and a guy like Javen who can play both play backer and rover at specific times, right? According to skill set, and throw some offenses off course, you could cause some major issues for Big Ten for real, because I mean, both guys can play in the box. That's the question. Can they play in the box, right? Because you can protect them in zone coverage, you can protect them in the post, you can protect them doing all that stuff, but can they play in the box? And I think both of them check that box off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The rover position is going to be fascinating to see if it is the same body type or style that they're looking at what they had with Gifford, or if they're going to try to do something a little bit different. Like you said, a lot of versatility in that 3-3-5. But if Javen Wright comes back, He did come back for the bowl game, by the way, led the team in tackles,
Come
so
on.
he can still do it. Would be a big boost for Nebraska football. That'll wrap it up for the locker room today, though. On the block coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies with a high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucket for 93.7.